Very scary. I got 2 young daughters of my own, so very scary.
Some parents say they're worried. How Toledo police say they're working to keep your children safe. 13 minutes of nonstop news is just seconds away.
Local school district making hundreds of thousands of dollars in cuts. What's on the chopping block in Wauseon?
One man is dead after a crash in Fulton County, what troopers say caused the accident.
Plus, a new person in charge of Bedford Public Schools. We will introduce you to the superintendent straight ahead.
Some parents are on high alert after a man allegedly tried to lure a 14-year-old student into his car this afternoon. That's our lead as 13 minutes of nonstop news starts now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Diane Larson.
And I'm Lee Conklin. TPS is working with police to get to the bottom of this, but many say it's truly scary to know their kids could be in some danger. 13
ABC's Daryl Kirkland Morgan live now with that story. And Daryl, what do parents need to know?
Well, both police and Toledo schools leaders urge parents not to panic, but be aware. The student did the right thing by contacting the authorities, and now they're working to make sure this same situation doesn't happen to another student.
Very scary. I got 2 young daughters of my own, so very scary.
Eddie Rahm doesn't live far from the intersection where a man tried to lure a student into his car Monday afternoon. He's already protective of his girls, but says he's not worried about his neighborhood.
I think it could happen anywhere. People like to say in different areas is worse than others. I think it could happen anywhere, so just be aware of where they're at. Keep an eye on them.
Police say a 14-year-old girl was walking near Airport and Fairing when she noticed a car following her. The driver eventually stopped and asked her if she needed a ride. The Bowser student said no, ran home, and contacted police. Police plan to have extra patrols in this intersection and near Bowser High School on Tuesday. They said this student did the right thing by contacting her parents and the authorities.
I mean, it can be scary because I have a little brother and he walks to school, but we tell him all the time, don't talk to strangers, just come home. If somebody tries to, talk to you, just walk away or give us a call.
Police say the girl described the driver as a white male in his late 20s with dark brown hair. She remembers him driving a blue car and wearing a blue jacket. TPS officials have already contacted Bowser parents, and extra school security officers will be on hand Tuesday. Police and school leaders urge parents and students to be alert and speak up if anything seems out of the ordinary. Elementary school leaders in the area have also been notified of the situation. If you see something unusual, you can call the Crime Stopper tip line at 255-1111. Reporting live, Daryl Kirkland Morgan, 13 ABC Action News.
A Toledo father has admitted to his role in the death of his newborn child. Antonio Cervantes pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter today. He also admitted to 3 additional charges. Last year, a landlord found the child's body inside a freezer. A judge sentenced the mother, Kenesha Pruitt, to life in prison for the baby's murder earlier this year. Cervantes is due back in court next month. A Toledo woman convicted of murder will spend 59 years behind bars. A judge sentenced Melody Williams today. Toledo City Councilman Sean Enright sat on the jury. Williams argued that Enright failed to give the court information about his job and his criminal history. The judge found those allegations false.
Suspect from Williams County is behind bars in West Virginia tonight. Police arrested 32-year-old Timothy Combs earlier today. Williams County Sheriff's Office tells us Combs stole the car back in January. Investigators say he has family in West Virginia. Combs is in jail tonight awaiting extradition to Ohio.
Some jobs are in jeopardy in Wauseon schools. It's part of a budget reduction plan approved by the Board of Education this evening. 13 ABC's Christy Lee was at tonight's meeting, and she's live now with the plan's details. Christy.
Yes, Wauseon Superintendent Larry Brown says the district's budget has been upside down for the past several years. It's been having to spend more than it's been able to take in. Brown says an action plan is needed for the new school year to avoid fiscal emergency.
Well, it's difficult because the district has already made reductions already, so it's getting to the point where you're trying to find very creative ways to try to meet the needs of the kids at the same time reduce the revenue or reduce expenditures within the district.
The Wauseon superintendent says the plan to make cuts has been months in the making.
Anytime there's change, though, people are going to be disappointed with specific things.
But Brown says hard decisions had to be made because schools in fiscal emergency or watch are bad for the district. He says the school has not been able to recover from drastic state funding cuts.
Every job is important to community members, and we realize that, but we tried to do whatever we can creatively with contracts and working through contracts to try to minimize the reduction in jobs itself.
The plan is to eliminate 3 teaching positions, a physical education, technology, and a 3rd grade teacher. A French teacher will go from full-time to part-time. Other positions will be restructured. Total savings for the district will be $370,000. Parents and employees at the meeting feel the cuts are reasonable.
I'm very confident the school is going to do what is best. They have always been upfront as far as what they want for the kids and for the community.
Wauseon has always, the school district has always supported the community, and the kids have always been the first priority.
Superintendent Brown says they will continue to look at ways to save money for the Wauseon School District. That will include evaluating each job as it becomes vacant from retirement or resignation. They will also look into another levy in the future to increase revenue. Reporting live, Christy Lee, 13 ABC Action News.
Well, there's a new man in charge of the Bedford schools tonight. Officially, there's a new superintendent. Tonight, board members unanimously voted to hire Mark Kleinhans, currently the superintendent at F. Montrose Community Schools in Genesee County, Michigan. Kleinhans will take over at Bedford in June. Now, last week, the financially struggling district voted to close Temperance Road Elementary School. That's expected to save some $850,000 a year.
We'll hope it's a little easier to wake up tomorrow morning for school after we sprang forward and lost that hour of sleep. Probably a little groggy this morning.
Yeah, for sure. But it was warm this morning.
Yeah,
I think,
it was.
when the kids woke up. Not so much now. 13 minutes of nonstop news continues with meteorologist Jay Burschback. Jay?
Yeah, Lee, the winds are howling out there, so you probably hear the cold air whooshing in from the west and northwest. Here's a live look at the wind with our Action Cam network. This is I-75 in North Toledo. Had a few sprinkles pass through a couple hours ago, but now it does look dry. But that shaking tells you the wind is really up there from the west right now at 20 to 30 miles per hour. Big picture, this kind of shows the swirl in the atmosphere causing the rain earlier today. Most areas about 1/3 of an inch of rain as that sweeps on through. Notice the color change? Green here, rain. You got the pink here, that's the rain snow mix, and then light snow here. So eventually, once the wind shifts more westerly, northwesterly the next couple days, looks like a smiley face, but we're going to get some snow showers in from Lake Michigan, and a few of those may sneak in tomorrow morning. Not a big event here, but maybe some flurries as you wake up tomorrow. Still breezy, still cool with a temperature of 32, wind chill values upper teens and lower 20s. And there's the sunrise with the time change. Mornings are now darker. At sunrise, 7:52. We'll track the flurries and any accumulations of snowfall with Predictor in a few minutes.
A local shelter continues to help residents in need, all thanks to your generosity. A spokesperson for St. Paul's tells us the Winter Crisis Program will continue through the middle of this month. He says community members stepped up and donated money to fund the program. St. Paul's nearly ran out of money for its winter program last month.
Family and friends are rallying around a Springfield Township family. That after a devastating fire. Flames ripped through the Dorr Street home last Tuesday. Investigators say that fire caused about $200,000 in damage. 2 adults and 8 children lived inside. There's now a fund set up for the family at Key Bank. You can donate in the name of the DeRate Family House Fund.
And we're learning new details tonight about a deadly crash in Fulton County. Troopers tell us 1 man died on the scene. Crews were called out to the intersection of US 20 and 109 around 5:30 tonight. Troopers identified the victim as 22-year-old Andrew Emery. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says Emery ran a stop sign, that is. He slammed into a tanker, spinning it around. Officers tell 13 ABC the driver died on impact.
The vehicle, from what witnesses say, didn't even attempt to stop. Was wearing a seatbelt at the time. It is believed to be that he is intoxicated. Well, the trailer was empty at the time of the accident, fortunately, because it's a fuel tanker. It turned, when the truck struck the trailer, it turned the whole trailer around.
And the semi-driver was not hurt. A Northeast Ohio community is remembering 6 teenagers killed in a horrible weekend crash. Warren residents held a prayer service tonight. They're honoring the memory of the 6 killed when that SUV flipped into a pond. Police say the vehicle was stolen. 8 people were inside, 2 managed to get out and survive. Those killed ranged in age from 14 to 19.
I couldn't believe it. Like, ain't nobody say nothing when we was in the motion of crashing. Like, we couldn't do nothing. It hit the railing. The car flipped over upside down.
Investigators say speed was a factor in the crash, but the cause still under investigation at this point.
And some frightening moments for students when their school bus slammed into a house. I'm going to show you the scene right here in Iowa this morning. Wow, police say the bus driver was taking elementary students to school and lost control on what was described as a curvy stretch of road, but luckily here no one was hurt. A local airman being hailed a hero tonight. Staff Sergeant Josh Blankley saw a rollover crash on I-75 back in June of last year. He stopped and ran to help, then immediately gave life-saving first aid. The Air National Guard awarded him the Ohio Distinguished Service Medal this past Saturday.
Ohio lawmakers could vote on the future of highway and bridge projects in Northwest Ohio. This vote tomorrow. The proposal would push new money for the turnpike to the northern part of the state. State senators are set to vote for the bond against the tolls. 90% of that would stay within 75 miles of the turnpike. Lawmakers are also considering boosting the speed limit on state highways to 70 miles an hour.
Catholic College of Cardinals wrapping up their pre-conclave rituals tonight, all part of the process in selecting a new pope. Workers making their final adjustments to the Sistine Chapel. 115 cardinals will walk inside tomorrow. They'll take an oath of silence and cast their ballots for the next leader of the Roman Catholic Church. The voting ends when one person receives 2/3 of the vote. That will be signaled by that puff of white smoke. Stay with 13 ABC, both on air and online. For the latest on the vote for a new pope, we'll have a special report at the beginning of the conclave tomorrow and updates throughout the process. ABC will have live coverage as soon as there is white smoke in Vatican City.
The budget, spending cuts, and immigration, those are just some of the issues President Obama is expected to negotiate with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle this week. 13 ABC's Washington Bureau Chief Jacqueline Policastro has a preview.
After dinners with GOP senators and a former vice presidential contender last week, President Obama is extending the olive branch once again. Facing criticism he doesn't come to the Capitol enough to meet with lawmakers, he'll do it 3 times this week. First with Senate Democrats on Tuesday, then House Republicans on Wednesday, and finally the Senate GOP and House Democrats on Thursday.
I think it's a great idea that the president's coming up to Congress.
Democratic Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur says she hopes the president brings a budget with him. It was due in February. When it comes to budgets, both the House and Senate are expected to unveil theirs this week. The Senate hasn't passed a budget in 4 years.
We have some matters to work out between the House, the Senate, and the president. So I think that is a very constructive sign, and I'm glad he's doing it.
But some Republicans are questioning the president's motives. Republican Congressman Bob Latta says the president has been on the road too much since he won re-election.
All he's looking for is running a campaign the entire 2 years, and that's not how you govern. And he needs to be here and get out of Air Force One and off the helicopter and just start meeting with people here in Washington.
There's something else big happening here this week. The Senate is expected to unveil its version of the continuing resolution. It will likely be much different than the House version passed last week. Both sides need to come up with an agreement before March 27th, or we could face a possible government shutdown. Reporting in Washington, Jacqueline Policastro, 13 ABC Action News.
13 minutes after 11 and still much more ahead. The jury speaks in Kwame Kilpatrick's corruption trial. Detroit's mayor going to prison again.
Investigating a D.C. drive-by. Over a dozen hurt in the morning shooting.
And a judge says not so fast on that supersized drink ban in the Big Apple.
Those stories plus so much for the warm-up. Jay's full forecast on the way in just 35 seconds.
This is 13 ABC Action News with Diane Larson and Lee Conklin. Now, 13 ABC First Warning Weather with Chief Meteorologist Jay Berschbach.
After a day full of rain, things are pretty quiet right now on Live Doppler 13,000 HD. Had a few areas of sprinkles move through West Toledo about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. But right now, things are looking dry. The high today, about 24 hours ago, was 55 degrees. The low is the current temperature of 38, officially about 1/4 of an inch of rainfall today. Some spots like Findlay and Lima, about 4/10 of an inch of rain. There's your sunrise tomorrow at 7:52 in the morning. It's going to be a little bit cloudy, a little sunny tomorrow at times, so a mixed bag of cloud cover and a passing flurry is not out of the question. There's the current temperature of 38 degrees. Even this camera here downtown has a little dance to it for you tonight. Westerly winds at 21, makes it feel like 28. When you wake up tomorrow, plan on wind chills in the upper teens. So unlike today when it was warm but damp, not the case tomorrow. It'll be cold and a bit blustery. Other temperatures still in the 40s east of I-75, mid to upper 30s off to the west. And our forecast here with our weather in motion shows the rain from today has moved on out. What's left behind? Now just a few of those little areas of pink or blue, so flurries and sprinkles. Here's your forecast now for tonight. This is our predictor by the hour. We stop the clock at about 7 a.m. and there are some breaks in the overcast. Also a few of those flurries tomorrow with no accumulations. The better chance for these little itsy bitsy accumulations come in. That comes in tomorrow night, early Wednesday, so maybe enough to scrape off the car, just a coating on the grassy areas, and that moves on by, tapering off here for Wednesday evening. So the question, I have the answer. The question, how much snow? And here's the answer with predictor. This is for tonight. We'll stop it tomorrow about 6 p.m. So barely enough to measure, and whatever falls throughout the day just melts on contact. Will be in the upper 30s. A little more in the way of a minor accumulation into Wednesday. This is the accumulation total, so 2 days worth of light snow. Looks like most of us here less than a quarter inch. A few spots a half inch, but light tomorrow. Even on Wednesday, much of the snow that falls during the day just melts, goes bye-bye. For tonight, your low near 32, chance of sprinkles and flurries. Still breezy tonight. If you're hearing the windows shake a little bit, that'll continue into tomorrow. There's the high tomorrow, 39. Cold and breezy, little blustery, chance of flurries. Better chance for light snow Tuesday night, early Wednesday. There's your high of only 33, so maybe a dusting there. 38 degrees Thursday, and the 40s on Friday, a nice day. Weekend 40s and cooling back down Monday. Now, as far as the weekend, if you have plans, hope you made plans this past weekend, but for the upcoming weekend, a few rain showers on Saturday. Does look dry on Sunday and Monday. We've had it a lot this year, but more rain and snow mixing with that high temperature back below average into the upper 30s. That's a fairly calm 7-day forecast. We've had storms the past couple of weeks. Near record heat this weekend. The record on Sunday was 72, still is. 72. Yeah. We hit 65 degrees.
Close enough.
That's behind us now. The time change has occurred, and this week more like March can be.
Okay, Jay, thanks.
Okay.
Still to come on Action News at 11, investigating a tragedy in the skies. A military jet crashes out west.
Plus the cleanup and recovery far from over, 2 years after a natural disaster that claimed thousands of lives.
Plus a 6-year-old, a hero, over what she took away from her grandmother.
First, here's tonight's winning lottery numbers from your official lottery station, 13 ABC.
Three U.S. Navy crew members are dead tonight after their jet crashed during a routine training mission. Plane crashed early this morning in Washington State. Naval officials have yet to release the names of the victims. The NTSB is investigating. Police in Washington, D.C. say a drive-by shooting injured 13 people. Officers say someone opened fire early this morning. Gunman shot into a crowd outside an apartment building, then fled in a speeding car.
Former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick is behind bars awaiting sentencing on corruption charges. A jury found Kilpatrick guilty today and then ordered him to stay in jail until he's sentenced. He's charged with racketeering, conspiracy, bribery, and tax crimes. The former mayor could get up to 20 years in prison. Health advocates are calling it a defeat. Today, a judge struck down New York City's ban on large sugary drinks. A Manhattan State Supreme Court justice ruled that there just were too many loopholes in the legislation. The rule would have banned the sale of more than 16 ounces of sugary beverages. Some grocery stores would have been exempt from the law. Police all along had said it'd be almost impossible to enforce.
Yeah. Our recovery efforts continuing 2 years after that deadly earthquake and tsunami in Japan. Crisis left 19,000 people dead or missing and displaced hundreds of thousands more. It was back on March 11, 2011, the 9.0 earthquake rocked Japan, causing the massive tsunami that led to the meltdown at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant.
Now at 11, here's a look ahead at what's in tomorrow's editions of The Blade. Oregon City schools are pushing for a permanent improvement levy, plus why some local gas customers are getting notifications that their contract is about to expire. You can read more about these and other stories in tomorrow's edition of The Blade and at ToledoBlade.com.
A New Mexico grandmother facing charges after police say her 6-year-old granddaughter stopped her from driving drunk. Police say the woman had been drinking and drove her 3 grandkids to a gas station. That's when the 6-year-old took the keys. Grandmother faces drunk driving charges. All right, bit of a blow, just a little one. Coach Culp's Rockets days away from the MAC tournament.
Plus, it's on in Bowling Green. The Falcons start March Madness, and Joe's in next with the coverage.
Home court, which is rare in the MAC tournament, has not been kind to the Falcons. A loss last year at the Stro and more challenges tonight. Miami rolls in and they lead by as many as 12 in the second half. But here comes BG. Austin Calhoun backdoor on the alley-oop, cuts it to a 7-point game. Moments later, Jordan Crawford, another senior, for 3. Falcons in it, down just 4 midway through the second half. Calhoun up top again, slices the Red Hawk lead to just 2 points with 8 minutes to go. But then the momentum stops. Rare turnovers and missed shots doom the Falcons. In the meantime, Miami is putting them in off the window from 3. You kidding me? Redhawks take it on the road 63-52. Louis Orr shaking hands afterwards, and he was asked about his job security.
I'm trusting God, and I'm the coach right now, so what happens in the future, only God knows, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to try to go any further than that. I trust God, and I'm going to keep trusting.
The coaches can do all they can in practice, prepare us, film, scouting reports, and things such as that. But when it comes to performing and taking that information that they give us and executing it on a night in and night out basis, that's our job as players. And I think we came up short on our end. Our coaching staff did a great job preparing us for this game like they have all season. Our problem has been all season is translating that and using it against our opponent. And again, we just failed to do that tonight.
In 6 years at Bowling Green, Coach Orr is 89-101, also the 2009 MAC Coach of the Year. Rockets are also dubbed, but Ryan Pearson makes the first team all-conference, the first UT player since Justin Ingram 6 years ago. Pearson second in the MAC with 17.9 points per game. The big apostrophe, Bowling Green's Austin Calhoun makes the second team for the second straight year. The club's leading scorer averages 15 per game, and tonight he finishes just 19 points shy of Nate Thurman on the program's all-time scoring list. On the women's side, what was is not anymore. Toledo slips out of the top 25 without a single loss. Rockets 4 points shy, the 25th spot, the same position that they held down last week. UT off till Friday with byes through to the MAC semifinals. The All-State teams are in for girls high school hoop. Whitmer's Shy McCarver on the D1 first team. She's joined by Todd Sims, Coach of the Year. Sims led Perrysburg to a 4th district title in 5 years. In D2, Amanda Cahill makes first team. Cahill and the Clyde Flyers play Thursday in the state semis. Also, congrats to Bellevue's Ryan Orshowski, Division II Coach of the Year. So a lot of good coaches, a lot of great players in our neck of the woods, and certainly fun to watch them this time of year.
Got that right, Joe. All right, thanks very much. Wake Up Weather Forecast is just around the corner.
Here's a live look from our 13 ABC Oregon East Toledo Action Camp. Jay right back with what you can expect tomorrow morning.
When you wake up tomorrow, temperatures near freezing, wind chills teens and 20s, breezy with flurries, light snow showers into Wednesday, maybe a dusting of snow, then warming back in the 40s for the weekend. A few showers. There'll be rain on Saturday with a high of 44.
And finally tonight, an amazing rescue caught on camera. Take a look at this. A 12-year-old boy got pummeled by the surf in New Zealand, and that's when a group of strangers formed a human chain and pulled him back to shore.
Yeah, rescuers revived the boy, then helped him get to the hospital. He's doing fine tonight, as we last checked our Australian, or what is it, Australian or New Zealand?
Our New Zealand Bureau.
Sources there. And that's 13 minutes of nonstop news. It returns tomorrow at 11 o'clock only, right here on 13 ABC.
For Lee Conklin, Jay Birchback, Joe Nugent, and all of us at 13 ABC, I'm Diane Larson. Our next scheduled news is tomorrow at 4:30 a.m.
Jimmy Kimmel Live starts next, followed by Nightline. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.